tell us about your events, right? If you've got an event coming up and you want us to give it a bit of promotion on air, online, on the app, and on our socials, you can do that for £15, flat fee, £15, 4 weeks before your event. We'll get a radio ad for you created, but we'll need a voice note from you and ideally an instrumental track. That will go on our app on our website as well.
But guess what?
What?
It's free for patrons.
It is free for patrons. So go and sign up there as well. But also go on our app. Go and download that. Future Hits Radio app on Google Play Store and the App Store. Go and download it. See some more events.
Also, thanks for listening and thanks for watching.
Oh yeah, cheers. Hi everyone, welcome to the Soundcheck podcast with myself, Matt Wherry, Abi Violet, producer Kieran and Cardinals. Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing, lads?
Very well. Self?
Good.
Yeah, we're all good. Could you introduce yourselves to the listeners and watchers of the podcast, please?
Yeah, I'm Matt.
I'm Nasa.
I'm Chris.
I am Stefan.
I'm Ant.
Nice to meet you all.
I suppose together we're Cardinals.
Yeah, we're Cardinals.
Yeah, we gathered that.
We did it.
How,
Easter egg for later on.
how long have you guys been together then? Because on your bio it says that you formed in 2020, but you only started releasing music in 2023. So what was the 3-year gap? Are you guys the same lineup as you were in 2020? How did you guys meet and all that good stuff?
So yeah, I suppose there's a bit of a story to that. So essentially, it started as sort of 2 and 2, as it were. So me and Chris were writing songs together. Nasa and Ant were writing songs together. A chance meeting.
A
long time ago.
Maybe
Probably,
back to
yeah,
like
what, 2018,
2017, yeah.
2019. Just
Right.
once a week, I'd go around to Chris's, we'd write a song, and then that'd be it.
consistently, like every
Yeah.
week, isn't it?
Yeah. And then a chance meeting at a party between Ant and Chris.
Right.
When Ant went, oh, I've written some songs with a mate. Can you put drums on them? He put drums on them. That sounds really good. And then Chris was like, oh, well, I've got a mate that I'm writing songs with. Maybe we could do that. And that was how the 4 of us. And then Stefan popped down from Hull. And that was it, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, I'm not from around here. So I've known Chris and Veli Chris and Veli? Veli. Because you introed as Veli and then said Chris. Veli,
yeah.
Chris, Veli, Chris, same person.
Cool.
I've known him for a long, long time. So, and they were a member down and kept, to be honest, they approached me like a little while ago and it wasn't the right time. And then it ended up being the right time. And I kind of sent a message. I was like, did you find that last person? Are you still looking for a
still
bassist?
need a bass player. Yeah.
And then,
We're gonna kick out.
but yeah, and then I ended up joining. So I kind of fit that last little puzzle bit there.
So when did that all come together then?
That was the back end of last year, so
yeah.
2022. So I think it was December 2022, and I kind of said yes to that, and then we kind of got going with things early in the new year, and then kind of started having a little plan for releasing different songs, starting with We Are All Ghosts, and then everything else since.
We wanted to talk to you a little bit specifically more about your DIY songwriting process and how you kind of release your own music as a band and how you kind of all come together and make that music work for all of you.
Especially that it's changed since you guys have obviously all come together. So if you were
Yeah.
two separate sort of entities and now you're together, how does that dynamic work in the songwriting process?
It kind of like forms from like the older songs. Like we decided to sort of chop them up and stuff, didn't we? Like and now I don't know. That's
It's like, for example, the next single that we're going to release, exclusive, it stems from the first song we ever played together.
Right.
It's changed a lot from that first song, but it's still called the same thing, and it's still got parts of it that are the same. And that for me is a great indication as to how we now work as like a unit, if you see what I mean, rather than it being, it might have been initially that we had like, as I said, we had songs and NASA had songs together, and it'd be like, oh, we got this song. Okay, brilliant. How do you play that? That sort of thing. But it's only really once we started to come together and go, well, what if we did that instead? What if we chopped this bit out and changed it? And then we do that with each other's songs. And then before you knew it, we were then writing songs, and it'll be, you love to send us a chorus, don't you? So he'll send us a nice voice note from his car. I've got this chorus.
I sing a lot in my car, and I'm like, oh, that sounded cool.
Yeah.
Voice note.
But the answer was actually a really long voice note from Lars. And I literally chucked it into my computer and chopped it up, got it all nice in time, and then I like wrote the stuff underneath it, and it's just like, okay, we've got a song here, and then we all came and recorded it, and it
Yeah,
just came from that.
Yeah, and that was a really different process for us, because normally it's like, we've got this, I might have a riff, or we've got a chorus, or we've got a something, and we build it around that. And that one was madness, because he sent us a voice note, no music or anything, of him just singing in his car.
The whole track.
The whole song. and then about
It's been adapted.
yeah. But then like the Saturday afternoon, we suddenly get a little message like, oh, the answer, and you click on it, and he's written all the music to it. And I'm like, oh right, well that was that done.
That was easy.
The thing then is the group chat on it just gets like overloaded with different things at times, and then
different versions. We're like, what
different
version
versions,
are we on now?
like
how does that one go now?
Final mix version 2.
Yeah,
that is literally the
Version
sort of
2,
thing, and then
version
we
infinite.
kind of all feed back on things. There may be little ideas we come up with in and amongst that, where we then mention things, and then kind of goes away, and it comes back and it's like, oh, that's exactly it. And it's
I'm quite obsessive with it, so I literally just say, there's another version, we could probably do this here, do this here.
It's like a blessing or curse, because you could just go to the studio and have your song done. But where we're doing it ourselves, it's like the song doesn't feel done, and then we're constantly doing it.
Yeah.
It's only when there's a deadline, like, okay, this has to be it.
I would just sit there, and then I just like singing the song through in my head or something. I just pop down the studio, and then there's another section, and then send it in, and
And then we all like it, and we go, right, okay, we'll change everything else.
It's a bit better now, so
Yeah.
I do feel like it comes up quite a lot, actually. How do you know when it's done?
it's never done. It's never done.
It's done when we go, right, we'll release it on this day. And then once it's been played somewhere, we're like, well, it's done now. I can't change it now.
I mean, there's even stuff on Lost and Found, which is we recorded. We'll get into it, but there's stuff on there that I'm just like, I wish I could have done that, or wish I could have done that better.
But then I also think that with that as an example, sometimes it's about that moment in time.
Yeah.
And like you hear it and you go,
That's
that as a finished piece.
And that was a very special moment in time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think for me, each song has got its own like story. Like I can remember all of our songs, which is handy because I've got to play them. But I mean, I can remember like the first bit. So I can remember with We Are All Ghosts, you sending 2 different choruses through, and him not being at the studio one week, and we were like, oh, let's try and do that, and we put. So the verse was a chorus, and then he had the other one. We were like, oh, actually, they're in the same key. Why don't we just put them together? And then that's how that happened. I remember with Pages, again, you sent through a chorus, and we built the whole song like around that. Then the answer was different because he like voice notes and that sort of thing. And sometimes it will be like, oh, I've got, and then we'll have other bits. We'll be like, oh, actually, I've got something in that key that I've been messing around with at home.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we haven't heard it, and it goes, and it can have a mind of its own, can't it? And then some songs take ages. Pages took us like 6 months to get as we wanted it.
Yeah,
and then,
some bits just weren't sitting right.
Yeah. We wrote about probably 6 or 7 different verses for that in terms of like lyrics and melody and everything like that.
That one, honestly.
Yeah.
And then
you go to sing it live, and you're like, what?
Yeah, which one am I singing?
I think that was one of the ones where it was ultimately it's finished because we put the song out.
Yeah. We'd still be writing it if it was.
Well, we're very glad you did get it out.
I think you were Artist of the Week with that track, actually.
I think they've been Artist of the Week quite often.
Yeah.
I mean, every track they've uploaded has been Artist of the Week. Or nominated for Track of the Year, but we'll go into that a little bit later on. From a mic perspective, could you guys share, and then Naz and Veli, could you guys share?
Yes,
Is that all right? Just because it's a little bit more balanced. So you're talking about when you guys get in the studio. Have you guys got a studio you go to, or you got one between you, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's my little. I've got like a studio, or like a summer house thing in the garden,
right?
And I've like kitted it out to be a little.
Plays it down. It's pretty cool.
Can we reveal the name of it, or will we get done for that?
Yeah.
Made a Fail Studio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good, very good.
It's not quite this wonderful place, but it is very
Cheers,
good.
Naz.
I thought you were setting up a bit of a.
No, I wasn't.
Have you got one, or would you like to come here? Exactly.
Straight down the camera.
Yeah. It's great for podcasts and bands.
Literally use it now.
Yeah.
There's marketing sorted.
Do you know what? We were literally, before you guys come in, we're like, we need to record some adverts for the studio and for all that. You
We're
guys
there.
are brilliant.
We're there.
We need a jingle as well.
We could do that
Christ.
as well.
Based on how long it takes us to write the songs, I don't think you should ask for us. Yeah.
I'll do it
How
on the
quickly
way
do you
back.
need it?
You'll have a voice note later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can write you a jingle. Don't worry.
Perfect. So
I do pull over my car, by the way.
Safety
It's
first.
normally
No.
when you're a lay-by, if you drive past someone and you're like, no, that's me.
So in the studio, do you produce all the music then?
Yeah.
How do you find it if you've got your spin on it as a part of the band and as a producer? Do you have to wear different hats?
No, we have to wear his hat.
It's tricky because obviously being in the band, you try and make it. I never stop thinking about how things can change and make it better. If it was just a case of producing it and recording it, it would be very much okay, that's the song and that's it. But yeah, it's a constant evolution, I think, from my standpoint anyway.
So who has the final sign off then, or is it very much like is it a democracy?
I reckon it's pretty. Yeah, I'd say it's a democracy.
It's all of us, I think.
I think, for me at least, and I've always gone with the approach of like you should be in your favourite band.
Yeah.
So like I find when we write songs, like I get a buzz out of listening to them in the same way that I do when I listen to like a band that I really like when they release a new song. So we'll be like, oh, have you heard that new song by so and so?
Yeah.
And I get that. So I do think that there probably are bits where there's bits in songs where we're like, oh, I wish we still had that bit in it or whatever. But I think we know as a collective that it makes sense for the song, and it's that we're sort of aiming for. And I do think sometimes having over the years, like having been in bands previously, like we've been like sort of through the ringer a little bit beforehand. So you kind of got to a point where you start to know how it needs to be. We're not going to write a 7-minute prog song. Not that there's anything wrong with 7-minute prog songs, but that's not
You're going to hate my new one then.
Yeah. Side project, mate. But yeah, do you see what I mean? So I think I think that we've not had a song. We've not got a song out of the ones that we're playing that we've released where there's any one of us that go, oh, I wish we'd changed that, or I wish we'd put that in. Sometimes I think you sometimes come at it from a production point of view because it's natural. You'll hear it and go, oh, I could do that now or change that. But in terms of the song, the structure, and how we want it to sound, like I find that we're piecing our sound together as we go as well. And I think that that's working to our advantage, in my opinion. But
it certainly is. I mean, it sounds like such a... I'm not just saying this because you guys are here, but
yeah,
it sounds like... No, I'm not.
I love you.
I do. I think that you guys sound like such an established product. Like you guys... I know that it's the case that you guys started properly in 2023, really, to end of 2022 into 2023, but like... It won't be long before you guys are getting into mainstream, in my opinion, because the product sounds great. Every song you're releasing, I'm not just trying to swoon over you guys, but it does sound brilliant.
There's consistency as well, like
it
in
is
terms
really
of your sound and the quality every time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
It's really kind.
It's certainly, I think, in a day and age where it's really easy to release music, but there's so much competition. There's so much, like, you're trying to kind of bid for ears and trying to get people to listen to your band, and ultimately authenticity and things like that are going to cut through, and we're just trying to, like Matt said, we're trying to write music that we really want to listen to and really want to play. And ultimately when we're listening to the songs, like I love air drumming along to our own songs. That's one thing I'll do, and I know I like a song and I'm there tapping away, and that's a credit to you as well.
I think Cardinals is one of my top Spotify things as well.
I'd hate to see my Spotify Wrapped.
No, exactly.
It's just me. Like, the 3 songs are released.
Great.
We listen to ourselves as well. It's
But the thing is,
do you have to be your favourite band? Exactly what you said. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why do it in any other way? Like,
exactly. I think that's you've got to have that sort of emotion about it as well. So like I get and again, it's not about being sort of, big-headed with it or anything like that. I think from a sort of a pride point of view as well. But like I'll listen to our songs and bits will kick in and like the hairs go up on the back of it, because that's what I want music to do that. And I love the fact that if it does it to me, then I'd love the fact that it could possibly do it to someone that's listening to it as well. Sort of, I think of bands that I love, the songs that I listen to, and you know, you can put a memory to it, or you can literally, you know, that bit's coming in that song, and you go, oh, this is it. And I love the fact that we've got songs that that.
It's like when you watch a reaction video of one of your songs and you're just like looking at the guy, like, you know, and you've purposely put in a bit like which causes, you know, someone to go, or so. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's all about, isn't it? Like.
We had a practice last night, and there was multiple times into the songs when we were going through it, like some of the new songs, and there's certain parts where we were trying to perfect the kind of a bit stop-start stuff going in, and we got them nailed. And the different points when we hit it, it was like we looked at each other and pulled a certain face, where it's like, oh, yeah, we know that sounded good.
That is always like the universal compliment in music, isn't it?
Like you hear that in heavy music when it gets like brings back and it's dirtier, and you're like, ooh. It was these like bits from it. But that's the thing which is so much fun about playing it, 'cause you're looking forward to these own parts in your own songs because of the way that, you know, you get to play that. And then I was just looking forward to seeing what other people kind of think when we're get to play them live.
Well, you guys have quite a good following already. Like, I mean, I know that from a perspective of, like, we're going to it ever so slightly, but obviously we've got the gig in January. And when we were talking about doing that gig, like, we obviously have got you guys, Rolled Up Sleeves and Dharma Hounds, which is a great lineup. It's a local lineup for Hotbox in Chelmsford and stuff. But I know that you guys are a great band. We've said that, but for us, the tickets were sold out in 12 hours. And
they were.
But the thing was, like, obviously we all got the ticket link at like midday, I think it was, and then we officially announced it at 7 p.m. that evening. And by 5 past midnight, I had an email from Hotbox saying 85 tickets have sold, and I was like, blimey, what have we got ourselves into?
Big family, isn't it?
Well, I was going to say, like, you guys have got, like I say, you've got a big following already. Like, you've got that support there. So how have you, if you haven't gigged yet, you've released 3/4 tracks, like, where do you think that following has come from?
It's tricky.
I think maybe because all 5 of us, all our friends might listen to it.
I suppose the association of the other bands we were in before as well. Like, potentially there might be a crossover.
Yeah, I think also, like, you know, a big thing for us is, like we said, about playing music that we enjoy. Like, I still, you know, whether you should or not, I don't know, but like, I still listen to the bands that I listened to sort of 15 years ago, 20 years ago. They're still my favourite bands, that sort of thing. And I think that sometimes I listen to our music and I think potentially we're writing new music for people that like that sort of thing. And so then you've got people that like those bands that I liked that would then listen to that and go, oh, I like that now. And it's not from a throwback point of view, like
it's like a modern version.
Yeah, like a modern version of something that maybe you've heard before, if you see what I mean.
So who would be an example of that?
I don't know, like your Say a Sins, Funeral for a Friend, that kind of thing. There's not bands, in my opinion, doing that in quite the same way as there were. And now I look at it and go, maybe we've not necessarily actively done it, but I think
it's like tapping into like the nostalgia of what that was and what it kind of meant to us when we were listening to that the first time round, and then kind of thinking, okay, well, how can we do that, but give our own take on it with
and
our
a modern
own
and a modern spin on it as well.
Exactly.
There's no doubt that bands are utilising a lot more than just 2 guitars, bass, and drums and vocals now, and I think that we tap into that as well because that's what people want to sort of want to hear, if you know what I mean. And it's I think that's where I think some of the fan base has come from, because people are listening to it and going, oh, that's what I get from when I listen to that song from 20 years ago or whatever. And like you said, you know, there's some of the bands that we've played in before and things like that, there's people that have kind of followed what we've done sort of since, and, you know, there's been a big gap between what we were doing and what we're doing now, but that's...
I'll also shout out you guys.
Well,
absolutely.
Appreciate that for sure. And you know, we've had you know, a lot of support from certain other kind of radio things as well, which I think has definitely helped. I know BBC Introducing was a good one for us. Obviously, kind of getting the track on things there, and obviously kind of the music videos putting out there. It's kind of different content to consume. So it's again, we have to put things out and continually put things out to try and cut through. And I think it's not typical. Fresh new bands come out and maybe do, you know, first single we had out came with the video, and there was good quality around things. We had a clear idea of what it is we were trying to do with things, but we wanted to make sure that it was just us. It was kind of authentic in the way that we wanted to do it. So.
I was going to ask you about music videos and stuff, because your YouTube channel, when you go on there, there's a lot of shorts and stuff, but your actual music videos got released on Dreamland?
Dreambound, yeah.
Dreambound.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Because I've not heard of them before. It's only since following you guys that I've seen them.
I kind of think it's like, again, showing the difference. We're talking about the difference between what the industry maybe looked like 15, 20 years ago to now. Scuzz and Kerrang aren't a thing anymore. They're not. And people don't watch TV, do they? Everyone.
The TV channel, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Like the TV channels aren't a thing anymore.
Shout out Kerrang Radio.
No, do you know what I mean?
Please play the track.
Feel free.
Please reply to our email.
But sorry, I meant the TV channels. Yeah. I can remember. You'd get in and you'd just whack Scuzz on, or you'd whack. And
it's the first thing I did when I used to come in from school.
Exactly that. And I think the thing is, something like Dreambound is the kind of equivalent of that now, because kids are watching YouTube, aren't they? The people don't watch TV anymore. We were having this discussion on the way here. You're trying to do a quiz. A family quiz he's trying to set up at the moment. He's like, I can't do a TV round because no one watches telly anymore.
For the older ones, you'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
I was literally watching telly with my kids, and they were like, can we fast forward this bit? I was like, no, it's the adverts, mate. You can't skip these.
Exactly. So I think, Dreambound was there's bands that have done really well out of being on there, we said right at the outset when we were putting together the idea for the video, we're like, oh, imagine if you could get it on Dreambound, and they've been really receptive in the same way that you guys have been receptive in terms of playing the songs, which is amazing. It doesn't get old either. Like hearing your song on the radio is like, that's mental. Like we wrote that in the summer house, and now it's being played on that sort of thing. But yeah, and they've bought into the videos, and it's been a great thing there as well, because then you get both sides of it. So you've got the radio stuff, you've got, we're on the streaming platforms, but then you've also got the generation that just want to watch the videos as well, and that sort of thing. And that's why we have gone down that route. There might be a time where we release stuff on our own YouTube, but at the moment, they've got the
just
following.
Getting the traction going.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, because obviously they're really big, aren't they? Yeah. So it's a case of like, what made that decision to go with them as opposed to releasing it on your own channel, where it would have got a great amount of views anyway. Yeah. But what's the setup with them then? Do you guys just submit it? I hope they put it on, or
they have a submission system, and you kind of NASA was having conversations with them fairly often, and there's certain things you can do, different packages and things you can do with them, but ultimately, kind of agree on a date you're going to push it out there, and they kind of push it out there, and because they've got quite a lot of subscribers through that, and like Matt said as well, you can kind of look through their kind of back catalogue of the songs and videos they've released, and there's some really big bands that are in there.
They have to like the song as well. I think they have to like the song, or it has to fit that kind of genre sort of thing as well.
It's interesting. It's not a platform. Have you heard of it?
No.
See, we're learning all the time.
Hey, shout out Dreambound.
I think that's the thing, though. Like, we're all learning about it, and that's the whole reason why we wanted to bring a podcast back to Future Hit Studio, because it's one of those things that if we don't know about it and we're doing what we can in the industry, there's going to be people that are coming through the ranks and in bands that just aren't our artists, and they're like, I've not heard of that. It's something to look at.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's really important as well. Like, so many people completely self-manage everything from songwriting to releasing to videos, and then some people might need help from elsewhere. So it's interesting just to get people's perspectives on. Yeah,
I think that's the other thing as well. It's fine to go those routes. That's what they're there for. And I think it's just about exploring and seeing what works for us as a collective, or whatever we're looking to do. I mean, there's a lot of bands, DIY bands, that are very, very successful now, and you can kind of see how their setup is with things, and just take bits that work for you, and obviously inspiration from different parts of that, but then utilising the different ways you can push things out there. Dreambound was certainly something we'd identified early on that we wanted to kind of get behind and push out there, because we thought we'd get a bit of traction from it, and we did. So
I think it's that. I mean, I think if you're a band starting out, any band starting out, want as many people to hear and see what they're doing as they can, and if there's tools around that can help you do that, and that they then endorse what you're doing, it's a win-win for everyone, isn't it? At the end of the day, if we get views on our video, we're pleased because we get views on our video, and then the channel is pleased because we get views on the video that they're releasing for us. So it's a win-win situation for everyone.
I also think Ant replied to every single comment on the videos that we've ever put out.
He's a man of little words in person, but on the internet, he is. You can't stop him.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that helps too. It creates a kind of personable approach to things, and it's that again, I think helps because
I think you need to assess yourself of how you consume music now, and go, okay, so like for me, I was a fan of Dreambound, and that's how I used to find bands. So I was like, I'd love to be on that because that's how I find bands. And similar to things like Spotify playlists. So I don't listen to albums anymore. I just you just pick a band you like, and it will just stream, and you just find bands.
Yeah.
So I guess aspirationally, if we got on like kind of playlists and things like that, then that'd be great. But it's trying to understand these new nuances that no idea about.
And obviously we're all old, so we're learning as we go. So it's
I think I'm still the oldest.
I don't want to have that conversation. We'll agree. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Super old.
Either way, Matt's the oldest. Not saying which, but Matt's the oldest. So with the playlists, how have you found that? Because I mean, you see so many things.
Tricky.
Yeah, tricky.
Yeah.
Sorry to let you finish.
No. You carry on.
Tricky. No, it's we're learning still, and I think
everyone, other bands will have the same thing. Like, there's plenty of websites out there that sell you the dream. You go, just pay for this, and then suddenly you're on a playlist, and you're like, well, is this a scam? Like, is it not? Like, what is it?
It's very difficult.
It's really hard to know what they're even trying to give you. Yeah. So it's confusing. It's definitely confusing.
I think you guys will be good though, like, because you're so consistent in terms of sound and quality. Yeah. If you can sort of just gradually keep building those streams up, the algorithms will start taking notice.
I think it's that as well. I mean, we were only having a conversation a few weeks ago about like, you do so much work in the lead up to something, and then it happens, and then you're like, right, what's next?
Yes.
Because you think that that's how people's like minds are going to work, and actually sometimes you've got to go. Maybe we've got 3 singles out now. Maybe we need to think about pushing those 3 singles that little bit more and see whether they can, rather than being like, right, build up, it's out. Right, okay, what are we doing? When's the next one out? Because we sat there at one point and had like
we were
6 months planned out, 6 singles ready to, we were going to do this and this. And we've been really fortunate, I think, that just, we've had each single we've released, something has happened off of the back of that single. So... we released the first one, and obviously you guys played it and things like that, and we were, we got played on the introducing show on Radio 1, which was amazing, that sort of thing. And then we released the second single, and you picked it up and we were that unsigned headliner, and all of those sorts of things that were like, it's just tick box after tick box of stuff to do. And then, and I think each time you do it, so then you're like, but actually we don't want to forget about those songs because they're good songs. But that sort of thing, and then. It's very easy, I think, to be in a band and second guess yourself, which I would say is probably the one thing about doing it independently that is the trickiest, because you don't know what the answer is.
Mm-hmm. Is that a pun? Or?
No. The answer is you. And then I turn the pages. But yeah, I think that's where it gets trickier sometimes, about just knowing what the best thing to do is. But we'll keep.
We'll keep at it.
We'll keep muddling through.
We'll keep going, and then eventually, like you said, something will get picked up, and then hopefully, like we've seen other things happen, it'll just be that. But we're just trying to go really naturally through things instead of trying to force things and get like, I don't know, too invested in one thing. We're just really open to how things are, and naturally things have flowed after we've kind of. Here's the song, and then this thing's come. We kind of lean into it, and then just kind of embrace things. And now we started getting some. We're in a place, we've got a couple of songs out, we start getting some gig offers and things like that, which is really nice, because then obviously that's coming off the back of people just listening to the songs and being like, we really like you guys, we want you obviously to play here, or so hopefully that just keeps on going. But certainly lean more on radio and trying to get things out there. Kerrang.
Which is still a thing.
Which is still a thing. That's the thing. When me and Anne were talking about the gig, it was like, it's one of those things that, because we wanted to we've put a few gigs on prior, right? And some have hit and some haven't, and it was a case of right, like the type of music that I like is obviously something is you guys.
He's just saying that.
Stop it.
No, but it's like sort of like heavier stuff, really. Generally, for me, like Black Pines, like I think they're fantastic as well. They're obviously from Chelmsford, and we've got some really good talent in Essex. And I think that we just wanted to make sure that when we put the next gig on, we were like, right, we want to have like a local band to the venue. Hopefully, they can bring people through the door as well. And we just want to love what they're producing.
Yeah,
so
we want to have a good night.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the fact is, when we were talking about it, and I obviously between the three bands, I mean, it was a case of right, how many people? Because I wouldn't call us like typical promoters. Obviously, we just want to put on good nights for the artists and for whoever's coming, right? So it was a case we were like, right, so from how many people do you think you guys are going to sort of bring through the door potentially? And the other two bands were like 20, 30 or whatever. You guys were like 40. Yeah, we can do that. I was like, you're our headliners. But it was like how that develops and how quickly those tickets went. Like, I'm so excited.
Genuinely, I was concerned. I was like, I didn't buy a ticket.
Yeah, no.
I had friends who missed out, which
Yeah,
was kind of cool, to be honest.
It's
I mean, night 2 or something.
I thought
Matinee show. Do you want to do a matinee? 2 in the afternoon, and then we'll do another one in the evening.
I seriously thought about it, but we've like I say, we've had a bit of experience doing gigs, but this is the quickest sellout ever that we've had. So it's really exciting for us to put that night on. But for you guys to be on it, for Dharma House to be on it, and Rolled Up Sleeves, I think that really showcases some really local talent in Chelmsford and Essex. So
Shout out
it's
those
great.
guys too.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, it's about the whole night, isn't it? And I think it's going to be a cool sort of package to put together to show people, and that's what every good gig is, that, isn't it? If you come away from a gig, maybe going to see, I'd like to think that the people that maybe are coming to see us are going to get a new band that they enjoy, and the people that come to see the other guys will hang around and see us play and enjoy that. And I think that's what you want from every gig you go to, isn't it? What the best gigs you go to for me are when you're going to see a band and then you find a new band. That's the.
Well, what we'll do, we're going to talk more about gigs because I've got some pet peeves to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a few.
I've got a few pet peeves to discuss about gigs, so we're going to talk about that. We'll have a quick break, we'll have a drink and come back in a minute, so stay tuned.
Nice.
So not only is the Soundcheck Pod a podcast, we've got a radio station as well. What's it called?
It's called Future Hits Radio. Don't know if you've heard of that one.
Yeah, your foamy thing says it on there.
Yeah. There you go. What a coincidence. And it's also the name of our studio as well. Future Hits Studio is the home of, our little home of Future Hits Radio.
Yep.
And you can listen to Future Hits Radio online on your Alexa. Where else? Is that
On
it?
the app as well. On the app as well. Download the app, take us on the go, ask your Alexas to enable the Future Hits skill, and listen to although we're based in Southend, but we broadcast all over the UK online, and we've got fantastic presenters in Newcastle, Manchester, Cardiff, Birmingham, somewhere in the southwest, London. We're all over the place. So check out our emerging shows as well, because there may be events coming to you soon. Go and check out the radio. Welcome back to the Soundcheck Podcast. We're with Cardinals, AB Violets here too, and me, Matt Wherry. We were going to go into gigs because we've obviously got a Hotbox gig we've mentioned on 27th of Jan, but you guys have also got another gig in Feb, right? How did that gig come about?
So that is through a friend of mine who I used to play in a band with.
Oh, cool.
His new project, King of the Dead, it's what he's doing, and I saw him recently, basically, and he was like, I want to put a gig on. He's actually moving to America in March.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, this is going to be like the last show. And I was like, well, I'll come to it. And he was like, well, do you guys want to play it? And we were like, yeah, we do. And that was basically, how
It's all
how
contacts,
it came about,
isn't
really.
it?
It is, completely. And he's, a very good friend of mine who, I've played in bands with, and his new thing's wicked. Very different to us. But I don't see that there's...
I don't think it's vastly different, though, because I had listened to them earlier on.
Yeah.
So I think you guys will fit well on a lineup.
I think it's one of those things now as
Yeah.
well. The barriers are kind of gone now, haven't they? Like, unless you're going to go to extremes, I feel like...
I like that though. I like being able to fit in like those sorts of bands where you've got multi kind of genres. They're the best ones. It's so much fun to kind of be a part of those sorts of things. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Me
Plus,
too.
they look awesome.
They do.
I don't know if you've seen pictures of them, but they look cool.
I haven't gone through the pictures. I had a little look at their Spotify numbers and
Yeah.
stuff, and they've got pretty good following on there.
Yeah, he's done really well. And it's all like he's got a band, but it's all him
it's all
doing
him.
it all sort of
So
thing.
he's still going to continue doing that when he goes out.
Yeah,
to
basically, he's going to go
America.
to America and wants to. I think he wants to
Didn't
try
you
and get out there.
make a special guest
Yeah,
appearance?
Yeah. So in one of their videos, I'm one of the guys in the hoods.
Oh, really?
But I think I might have. They'll probably get in trouble for that now as well.
you're not supposed to.
No, but
Oh,
well, he's moving to America.
Yeah.
When
are we releasing this?
Yeah. But no, we're really looking forward to it, and I think it's about just where we're based as well, like mainly Chelmsford, but then we've got like. We want to push it out. Obviously, the more people that, like you said earlier on, the more people that come and see us and hear us, and the people that go and see him might not be expecting to see us. So if you then come away with a few people that thought, oh, that was good, I enjoyed that, I'll check them out. It's like mission accomplished, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, really excited for it. to be
Is
honest.
there anywhere venue-wise on the bucket list for you guys?
Not Chinnery's, I hear.
Not Chinnery's, yeah.
We're cancelled from Chittery's now as well.
Turn his microphone off.
Yeah,
That was before we started recording.
Yeah. Don't worry, we haven't actually got that on tape yet.
That's all right. That's fine.
It's Colchester Arts Centre for me. I love that place.
Yeah, we were speaking about that
And
earlier.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
If we can play there, then play there.
I don't think you guys would be far off.
Yeah.
I reckon summer. I reckon.
You think?
Yeah.
How's that? Can you put that in writing?
Yeah. Can you email that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's tricky though because I've already done an arena, so
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Paramore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
What?
Oh, I
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Like, you played with Paramore.
just pick that name up over there for us.
Yeah.
I didn't name
Paramore?
it. He did.
Yeah, I'll do it. I want that.
No, it's just I suppose like somewhere like Brixton or something would be the
Yeah.
Yeah. What next week?
We're hoping that in.
I think for me, I'd love to see a point where there's growth in what you do.
Yeah.
So for me, like the Hotbox gig was it was a really big deal for me because playing in we've all played in bands at various different levels and done different things, and it's like to have a show sell out before you're going to go and do it was wicked. And again, like a massive but then I'd love to see it like the next gig that we do with our name at the top. You want it to be that those people that came to that come, but then they bring other people, or there's more people that want to come, and then you can have, you can play a 200 cap room, and then you can play a 400 cap room, and then before you know it, it's just sort of building it really. But
What is Colchester Arts? About 300, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's up to 4.
They've got fantastic
I think it's
toilets.
400.
Oh, good.
Really good toilets.
It's got fantastic
Fantastic
toilets.
what an endorsement that is. Like, I love the pipe work. I just love it. I love they've
The
got
plumbing.
I have not seen a U-bin like that since.
They're award-winning toilets.
They are actually award-winning toilets.
Actually,
right.
the
Yeah.
backstage is cool actually.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know. Wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because it's an old church, so literally you're like in the old sort of vicar's area.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
It is really cool.
I think it's one of those ones as well where, for us, it's about, not to make it sound cheesy, but like it's about us doing it as well.
Yeah.
Like we've all done bits and bobs over the years with different things, but for me, it's like it being that it's the 5 of us doing it. It
I
kind
think
of
it's starting from the ground up as well.
completely,
Like,
literally from
'cause
nothing.
I've kind of like jumped on things where they've been established, and for me now, like from starting it from the bottom, building it is really exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never done a gig as a singer, so that's
Oh,
new.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a new thing for me.
You didn't mention that before
Yeah.
we booked you for Hotbox. You'll be right.
Full of surprises.
Yeah,
He's going to
exactly.
perform in
I'll
a
be
minute.
facing the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we joked last night about we're going to set up in the stage in a circle like we were in practice, just
Yeah.
face
So, like,
inwards with
face
each
inwards,
other.
the crowd are behind us. We're like, yeah,
Are you still here? Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
The most introvert band ever.
Yeah. We don't want you to enjoy it.
So if it's your first gig as a singer, what other gigs have you done? And what has been
I'm
your
a
role?
guitarist,
Oh,
so
right, okay.
I played guitar in bands before, but never sang. So it's a new.
Took me a while
experience.
to persuade him to sing.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It took me about 7 years.
Oh, that is quite a while.
Yeah.
Just going, sing.
Yeah.
Sing.
So how did that come? Can you just hold your mic up a little?
Sorry,
But
yeah.
You're the singer, right?
Yeah. How do you
Don't
help
be
this
afraid of the mic. Step 1.
Like you just said, he's never done this before.
It took him 7 years, right?
Just
So how did that
around it.
conversation happen then?
So me and Nas used to be in a band together when we were 14, 15. And he done some backing vocals in that. And I knew he had a good voice.
Mm.
So it's just been years and years of me persuading Nas that you're
Coax
good
me
enough
into
to
it, yeah.
like you're good enough to sing. So then we started recording from like ages 17 upwards. Wrote songs for all these years together, and I just told him to put some vocals on these, and he done it, and it's amazing, and it's just getting better and better.
It's a case we were writing music, and it was like, never feels finished. Like, what should I do then? And I'm like, we'll just put vocals over it, and it kind of just happened. So,
How do you feel that is your confidence grown from that? Because if you would,
definitely, yeah, it's growing every time, and every time we practice, hopefully, the gig goes really well, and that will grow with it, and it's all part of the journey. So,
it's interesting as well. You can see from someone that kind of NASA was new to me. A lot of the guys new to me come join. I only knew Wherry beforehand, so. Joining the band and going in, and when we first recorded the We Are All Ghosts music video, I know I'll maybe speak on behalf of you, but he was very nervous. Like he was very definitely. Kind of in his own kind of shell. And then the more we kind of got into that, the more comfortable it got. The next video we did, again, more comfortable. And then it's now a case of it's just continue to grow. And vocally, it's awesome having a singer that can throw out these like ridiculous things, and it's cool to just let him do his thing. These voice notes that come through, there's some parts that come through, and it's really cool to see how his mind works with those things, and then how we kind of piece all that together. But it's really cool to see the kind of confidence grow with that.
It's really nice. It seems they're very equal, aren't they?
Yeah.
It does seem like you're very equal within your band. Sometimes you meet bands and you can always tell there's the one person sort of leading it. But with you guys, it does seem very level.
To be fair, it's usually the front man that just speaks on behalf of everyone else. So we have a
Have you got someone in mind?
Yes. Loads.
Who?
Loads. I'm not going to out them.
Under the bus.
I'm not going to harangue them.
Yeah, don't make one mistake.
That's become a verb.
Yeah, don't harangue it.
Don't harangue it.
So I was going to ask you about pet peeves, right? So we've had quite a number of gigs over the last couple of years. And my main pet peeve is when the headliner doesn't watch the support acts.
100%.
100%. Also,
Who's
my
support?
other pet peeve would be when the supports don't hang around for the headliner.
So, yeah.
I've done so many gigs where we've had you'll have a band
Loading out.
They'll use all our equipment, like they'll use the cabs, they'll use the kit, and then you see them and their 20 mates that they brought with them out the door before while we're setting up to go on, and you just think it's all part of the whole thing. You can't tell me that you need to, just what's another half an hour? Do you know what I mean? Like you're more than happy to come along and do that. Like,
isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Someone's hungry.
Yeah, we heard that.
Okay, let me.
Can you put the mic a bit closer, please?
I hope that gets picked up, because that sounded sensational.
Definitely one of my
That'll be
dogs.
next single.
I hope that picked up. And in case anyone didn't hear that, my stomach just decided to announce to the entire room.
You
was
asking
hungry.
who leads the band. It's Stefan's stomach, right? And we've been trying to keep it.
I fed him before we came.
It was good too. I think it's about to come up, mate. No, I'm just kidding. I really hope that gets
Did it
picked
say
up.
something about Kerrang?
I certainly
That
heard
was so
that.
loud. Anyway, what were we saying?
Right, I was going
Kerrang.
to sort of try and segue back into the songwriting and DIY process, right? So who does what within the bands? Obviously, Ant's the main contact that I've obviously dealt with, but what is sort of the roles, other than the instruments you play in the writing process, what are the other roles within the band between you guys?
Yeah, Ant's Mr. Social Media. And yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm old, so I don't understand how it works. So,
You're still on dial-up.
but yeah, I think dial-up, what, the phone. I don't know whether we've got like necessarily sort of set roles. I think it really does feel like a collective thing, like, and you have sort of mentioned it, and it's probably something we kind of pride ourselves on. Really, there's not a one person doing anything. It's whatever it is. It's for the better of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So there'll be bits that we might feel more comfortable doing. Do you know what I mean? Like you've probably established, I can chat. So do you know what I mean? I don't mind doing, like, I love all this sort of stuff, that kind of thing. And whereas other people might not do it quite as often, that sort of thing. But I think at the end of the day, we play to our strengths. I think that's the real key to it, is finding the bits that you sort of excel in, that's going to push the push the whole band forward. And
Yeah.
I think we just do that sort of as and when those things come along, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of naturally
And
falls
our
into
WhatsApp
whoever's
chat
doing
is
it.
just constant. So it's just constantly going, there's an idea, people will build on it, and it will just grow. So it's like we're just all throwing in ideas depending on what's going on at the time. So,
Daily as well.
yeah.
More than that. It's like, hourly sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I get out an appointment at work, like, oh, there's 140 messages.
I was literally going to say the same thing. Sometimes the group chat pops off during the day, and I'm like, I don't know how these guys have like, what is going on right now? 100+ messages, and it's like talking about all these different things.
Family
but
Guy quotes. Back and forth and loads of different gifs.
it does all seem to naturally fall in its place. There's certain things where we have interest, like merch, for example. When we get around to that, I have a lot of kind of background in that, so it's an area which I'm like really excited to get into and things. So we've all got our, like things we will naturally contribute maybe more, but ultimately we just try and find a balance between that with all of us, and then say for the greater good.
Yeah, I think because then it does feel like that if there's any of the, I'm not going to call them sort of successes, but any of the things that have happened with the band so far, I can genuinely look at all 5 of us and go, we all contributed to that. There's not a thing where it's like, oh well, I wrote that song, you know, or whatever. Because there's genuinely not a part where it's like that. It is a case of that we've all got our own sort of bit to play with it, you know. And I think it makes you feel like it's, you know,
You're part of it.
yeah, exactly that. And I feel like we're quite tight knit as a group as well.
Yeah.
So we're in it. We've all got the same idea. We
Yeah.
don't necessarily know what that idea is, but we've all got that same idea.
Sounds
and we're all
familiar,
going-
doesn't it?
Yeah, and we're all going in that same direction. And I think I think it's good. You can be in situations where it's like you say before, like people can be sort of not a dictator, but it's very much like, well, I think we should do this, and then if it doesn't happen like that, then it's there's, as I said, there's bits that I don't necessarily understand in quite the same way that other people do, and I'm like, well, I'll take the lead on that. You know, take your lead. You go ahead and do that because that's going to help us go forward. But then I can do the bits that I can do well as well. So
Yeah, 100%.
Even goes to some songs as well. There's been some songs where we've got them together, and there's been like maybe a chorus change or something that's changed within the song, and then it's like, we kind of have a bit of a discussion about it. Maybe there's a couple people, you know, I like the older way, or you know, the new way is still great, and then you may be naturally thinking, and my head's going to a song which will come out at some point. But we kind of changed a few things up, and then, but ultimately it gets to a point where it's just like, actually, no, this makes sense for the song, and then the things that we used from that song we can put in the kind of bank of, hey, let's use this riff or this line at a different point, and then bring it and put it somewhere else that will fit. So
I think the other thing as well, and it's not, but I genuinely think, I can't think of a situation where we've had like a split and we've gone, well, 3 versus 2, so we'll do that. I genuinely don't think we've had that situation. It's been a case of,
It's very rare.
yeah, let's do. But again, but then it means that we can go full force into what we're doing.
Yeah.
If you're doing it where there's 3 of you that wanted it and 2 of you that didn't, the 2 that didn't are going to be like, yeah, well, yeah, we'll go for it, but don't expect me to, you know, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to push it. But we haven't had those situations, and it's been great. And
Well,
it's refreshing as well,
you're
isn't it?
Not yet.
all on the same page,
Yeah, not
Which
yet.
is-
You know.
which isn't always the case though. And I suppose maybe that is why someone does more naturally take the lead. But if you're all on the same page and you all feel like you respect each other and you're all going in the same direction,
Seems like a safe space, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
definitely.
That's
I
what
would
you
like to think as that. Yeah, we're just trying to be good guys and just enjoy playing music together, and just
That's
wanna-
what it comes down to. We've always said that the whole way. At the end of the day, 5 mates playing music
Yeah.
together, and as soon as it becomes anything that isn't predominantly that,
Yeah.
then then it'd
Need
be
to look at it.
that we got to look
Take
at
a
it
step
again.
back and
Yeah.
Exactly, because that's what, you know, because there's been, you know, there might be the idea of like, oh, should we do this? Should we do, you know, you second guess everything. You go, let's just bring it right back to the fact that if in a year's time, you know, we weren't getting played on the radio and we weren't playing gigs and we weren't doing this and we weren't doing that, but we were still writing those songs, we'd all be just as happy as we are now.
Do you think that perspective has come a lot from being in bands previously? Do you think
Maybe.
you've learned that? Or-
Yeah.
you appreciate a lot more now, I think. Yeah.
That was definitely the thing I was going to say. Is that it's when you kind of have that approach with things, and then you let it kind of happen naturally. There is certainly a much deeper appreciation for things that do happen, because you know people are doing it because they want to, as opposed to like they feel that they, you know, have to, or things like whenever we've put things or songs places, and like for you guys and stuff, it's like you didn't have to pick it up and play it. You could have just, you know, listened and just ignored it, but it was like we just thought, oh, let's submit a few things different places, and that's just seems to be when it happens. And then it's like, next thing we know, we were planning on releasing one of the singles, and then we had to release it early because we found out just randomly we were going to be played on BBC Introducing. So it was like, right, well, we're going to have to figure this out. And then, but that was like, as if this is happening. Like it became, you know, we get very appreciative of the things that have kind of come up. And I think that perhaps goes to that kind of level-headed attitude where we're doing it just because we want to have some fun doing it and playing them right in the songs. And then whatever happens, it's just a bonus. But when it does happen,
yeah, we'll take the help when it comes. But,
yeah.
I think you touched on it there. I think, being in bands previously and getting to I look at it, you know, from my point of view personally, and look at it and go, I feel like there were sliding doors moments. That's what I refer to them, and unfortunately, I always went in the wrong door in terms of where it could have gone. You're like, oh, we're so close to here, and then it went there, and you put the faith in the wrong people, and they do it for the wrong reasons, and before you know it, you're back at square one, and you go, oh, how did we end up here when we were there? Like, whereas we don't have. At the moment, we don't have the sort of the outside influence. It means, like I said, everything we do is genuinely what we do. And look, it might work and it might not work, but at least we know that we did it when in 100% the way we wanted it to go. And I think that's really important for what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
And thankfully, some people also like it. So that's worked out well.
I think you guys have got on a bit of a roll, but it's one of those things that over the course of the next sort of 12 months, have you guys got that release plan sorted or those little targets sorted? Or
You can talk about it. Should we talk about
We'll
it?
say yes, but yeah. I mean, do you want to take the lead on it? No, if he doesn't. That's fine.
Well, it's already changed anyway.
No,
Like,
it's-
before we even started talking,
Yeah.
we had a little bit of an argument about whether it was
Wasn't
a
an
debut.
argument.
Oh, it was.
it was a discussion.
Discussion.
It was a heated discussion, as my
professional
parents would say.
heated discussion.
I've plenty of them.
We have a plan, and I think like initially we looked at it and our own idea was to kind of get a couple of songs out, form an EP, and then kind of have that pushed out there so we have quote unquote a product which we can then just be, you know, we've released our first EP, it's our first, you know, offering, and then we can kind of then work on whatever there is next, whether that kind of leads up to an album or not. Then we just kind of like, again, some influences from kind of respected people that we kind of go to and maybe seek advice from and things like that have certainly put things in our head where maybe look at things a little bit differently of how you could do something. So I think that experience from the people in you know what we deem are the right places that we want to go ask for things like that, or the people who are giving those opinions because they care, that it's not they have to say those things, it's, you know, they want to say those things. So it's just, you know, we're listening to what we hope is sound advice from things like that, and then again leaning in what we think is the right thing to do. And I think collectively we decided, actually, let's go with that plan of maybe getting some singles out there, really pushing things behind that, focusing on the product and obviously what we want to do with music videos. And we have a lot of ideas, and some are fairly ambitious ideas of what we want to do with some of the music videos. Shout out James Knight. Good luck, mate.
Yeah.
But that's our videographer who's done everything so far. So we're really excited for things with that. But I don't know if you got anything to.
I think we've been in we have been in a situation recently where we got to go and record at a really prestigious studio and things like that, and doing that and speaking to people that were there and everything like that was I think for a lot of us was a bit of an eye opener in terms of what the next best things were to do, because it was like we were going to do let's do this and this, then that'll be part of an EP, and then maybe, you know, we'll do that, and then as Nasa mentioned earlier on, like the landscape of music has just changed, and it just has changed. And whether or not, you know, would I like us to have an album? Of course I would, because I'm old school and I want to put a record on and listen, you know, and that sort of thing. But
On the wireless.
you know, but then you also go, you've got to play to what's going on now. And at the end of the day, if you've got 10 singles out, well, you've got an album, haven't you?
Well, I
You
was
just
gonna
haven't got
say
it in
that.
the form of an album. It doesn't have the artwork and it doesn't have this, that, and the
There's
other.
nothing
but it's-
stopping that happening
No,
later down the line.
Exactly
is
that.
it?
Exactly. You know, when someone comes along and wants to sign us and pay for us to do it, then we'll do whatever they want. But yeah, I think we've got an idea of we've got the next the next 2 songs at least
Yeah.
in the bag, ready to go. But we just want to make sure that we do it right.
Yeah,
Have you seen
bangers
it?
as well.
We'll
Yeah,
play like,
yeah.
No doubt.
We'll play them to you later on.
Yeah.
and we want to get like advertising campaigns behind them ones as well,
Yeah.
just so we can give them a boost, and even the older 3 other ones
Yeah.
boost them, because then hopefully we can pick up more traction from that as well.
And I'd like to think that hopefully by sort of next year, sort of stepping into the live environment as well.
Yeah.
You know, you want to play to those people that, you know, the 40, 50 people at the gig that aren't your fans. You want them to then go and check you out, and then you see the listeners go up, and then you go and play somewhere else where maybe 3/4 of the room isn't yours, but then you take half of it away with you, you know, and then you do that, and you start to build up, play a show somewhere else in Essex, then maybe get into, you know, we'd love to be able to go and, you know, play somewhere in London, but I think it's the case of
Up in Yorkshire, just saying.
obviously up in Yorkshire, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think we're at that point as well where even that landscape's changed. You know, back in the day, it was like, you know, get in a van and play as many shows as you can. It doesn't necessarily work in quite the same way anymore. It might be about playing the right shows and playing where people want you to go and play, rather than going, if I just play everywhere, then I know that someone's seen me. I'd rather go, you know, we'd be at a point where it's like, well, let's go and play where those people have said, come and play here. And someone's got in touch and said, oh, I heard you on this, or I saw you on Dreambound, or, you know, whatever. And then, oh, we'd really like to put you on here. And you have those conversations. It becomes a much more sort of organic thing rather than being a sort of, right, this is it. We'll get an LDV, we'll put some bunks in it, and we'll just tour everywhere that we can. You can do it that way still, but at the end of the day, we're not.
What do you get out of that?
Exactly.
It's that kind
I'm
of-
not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
So
Exactly that, yeah. The whole kind of quality over quantity, if you will,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Where it's, we're really excited about all the kind of gigs we'll, you know, get to do in these initial ones. It's exciting to get on that kind of path of right, we're now a live band as well as obviously what we've released, which would be really cool. But then I think we've got aims or loose aims in our heads of what we want to do when it comes to playing shows and touring and things like that. So we're certainly going to...
just the art centre.
Yeah.
The art centre and out.
Yeah.
Like, if he plays in the summer, he's done by September. He's off.
Yeah, I'm done after that one.
Nice and close to where he lives.
Yeah,
so
it's just around the corner,
he can walk
surely.
there. It's there.
I was just going to go back to to the part where you were talking about the releases and having an advertising campaign. How do you guys decide on what distributor to use, what PR sort of to do? Like, how do you guys sort of do that?
Oh, shout out to Amp, by the way, helping people in the chat with distributors earlier
Oh, thank
in the
you.
WhatsApp.
Well, you could help us as well. Then. What was that? Belly can take them.
Yeah, Belly or Stefan.
Whichever.
Like,
Distributors.
yeah, like, is it TuneCore we use?
Yeah, just use TuneCore to send it out, and that's it. We don't really have any other plan other than that. Just get sent out, and then that's it.
Fair enough. But how do you pick a distributor for people that haven't done that before? Why TuneCore over any other?
Because that's the one that I've
Used
used
to
forever.
forever.
I
Honestly,
literally think
that's literally all it is.
it's
like-
one that's been... I've definitely used that before.
Yeah, I used
think
it. My
Matt
old
said
band,
the
we
same.
used
It's
TuneCore, and it just happens to be the one that we all sort of
new.
knew of, you know,
Yeah.
and it's
Well, it's trial and tested, right? Because
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
like a lot of people use like Ditto and DistroKid,
DistroKid
and
and
places
Do they
like
do
that.
anything different?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't know.
like,
Like I wasn't
I don't
sure.
think they do anything different, do they? It's just I thought it was just a thing to get it out on Spotify and all the other streaming platforms, and that's it, isn't it?
yeah. I think, you know,
I guess they will charge slightly different and offer
Yeah.
different services and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
As you
but
can see, we're learning.
Yeah.
We have no idea, basically.
It's not part of the world that I'm in. That part of it. Obviously, we're doing a bit of PR and stuff. Well, I say we.
Yeah.
You are. So obviously, you know more about that than I do. But yeah, with the distributors and stuff, it's just interesting to know who uses who and why.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's similar to like sponsored posts and things like that. We haven't gone into that realm
Mhm.
yet, but other bands are. So
Yeah.
you kind of pick up on what other bands are doing and thinking, well, maybe we should be doing that. And then you go, and then like I said earlier, like you go down the avenue of looking at, you know, you Google it, and then suddenly someone will go, oh, you can get this many views, and it's like, well, what is this?
Yeah.
So it's like just a very confusing world of promotion, and then
I think just because there is
what
so
you get.
much out there, isn't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah,
So many different
exactly.
options, so many different things to explore. I mean, that video platform I've never heard of that.
yeah.
And then all the PR stuff. But what even is included in PR is just too many options in terms of
exactly.
marketing and branding.
Mhm.
You're like sport for choice in a way.
Yeah, or get charged a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's the thing as well. I
Yeah.
think it's really about you want it to be someone that
Actually
genuinely wants you to do well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yes, of course, there's going to be a benefit from that, but you want the benefit to be from the you being successful, not the benefit being that you will pay for them to go and do the thing that will, you know, make you feel like you've done that work. If that makes sense.
If someone
yeah.
approaches and says, "Oh, really interested in your band. It'd be great to do a campaign with you. It's going to cost you."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I kind of want to talk to you first before,
Yeah, of
or at
course.
least
It
understand.
comes back to what you were saying earlier about working with the right people
100%,
and making sure
yeah.
that people have got your best interests at heart. Like everything that we do here, everyone knows we're just trying to do the best for the artists. And I think that there's not loads of people around that are trying to do that. So you can obviously get stung by certain PR firms or promotion or what am I trying to say? Or promoters or whatever. It's just about trying to surround yourself with the right people.
I think it's that. I think there's a passion from our side with the music that we write and we put out, and you want people that are as passionate about it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, obviously we don't get paid to do it because we're doing it for the love of it. But if you're going to put your faith in that person, you want them to get what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then want it to be successful for you, not for them. Obviously, as I said, it's a counter product of what goes on there. And you know, harking back to what we talked about earlier on, that's situations where bands we've been in previously, where it's like, well, bands I've been in previously,
Yeah.
you know, where that has been, you've put that faith in the wrong person, and that for me is like a nightmare. So
Yeah.
it's then difficult to be, you know, your guard is instantly up. Like you said, the minute someone says, love to do a campaign, it's going to cost this, they'll be like, yeah, see ya.
I found that with like Spotify playlisting and stuff. It's like
Really?
they're like,
That's
we'll
what-
get you 10,000 streams, and it's like, yeah, but where's that come from?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you
Yes,
end up
that's we
looking
don't
at
have that
Finland
level
or
of
something.
trust,
exactly.
trust with that sort of thing yet, you know. It's because who do you lean into that? And that's the certain thing which we, you know, I think with time, but like I kind of briefly touched on it earlier on with the videography we used, like 100% for the band. Like
It's like the sixth member of the band.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Wants exactly kind of like he buzzes off what we delivering on that sort of thing that we want, and then kind of achieving that, and then building with that. That's the sort of thing that you kind of want in any team or anything that you build together. So
Yeah.
anything that when we do kind of get into that realm of, because we all have to at some point, we have to figure out how to get further out there, because that's ultimately the aim. We want to be in front of as many people as possible. But
Yeah.
how we do that, we kind of have a loose idea, but we need to start, you know, building to get to that. And I think that just comes with time. And again, we've got patience. We're doing it for the right reasons. We want the right things from it, and then hopefully a lot of things have organically happened so far. So hopefully that same thing will happen again, whereby, you know, we'll continue doing what we're doing, and then we'll end up, you know, meeting the right people and talking to people, and then it's just a case of then building on that. And I think when you're fairly good judges of character, I'd say, amongst us, so, you know, we want to keep the right people around. So I think it'll just come with
We
time.
let you
and
in, didn't we? So
that. Let me in.
I'll tell you, having a videographer as a sixth member of the band is a very, very good thing. We've sort of done that.
I know. I wanted to shout out Kieran. I didn't know how to get it in
Shout out
there.
Kieran.
Shout out,
Shout out Kieran.
Come to the front, Kieran. Get in front of the camera.
There you go.
There he is. Just gonna edit that out.
But
No, it is crucial.
I'll tell you who has done that is Skinner Brothers. Like, I know they're like obviously independent, and you know they sort of have their fans and whatnot, but they have got, I think they call him the Buzzard. He's literally like at every gig that they do, and all the content is filmed by him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's so important in this day and age to have that content there.
You'll find with most, you know, kind of successful touring bands now, they will always have someone who's there doing content. And it used to be a photographer, and then now, as the way content's changed and the way people consume content's changed slightly, it then switches to majority videography type things, the kind of quick edits, your shorter videos, which you can put on Reels and TikTok. And
I think we're getting marketing 101 insight here.
maybe a little bit. We need this one for free.
We need to add someone to our band, don't we?
Yeah, we're going to take notes, or can we hire you?
But again, it harks back to
So
exactly
we
what
got
you're
a
saying.
jingle. We got a jingle we need to create, and then we're going to figure out how we can market it. Yeah.
But I think that harks back to what we were saying earlier on. It's just where it's changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, bring back MySpace.
Oh, shout out
Do you know what I mean? Like,
MySpace, man.
was it
exactly.
Tom
Come on,
that
Tom.
messaged you?
You know,
Yeah.
bring it back, mate.
What's
What
Tom
happens?
doing nowadays?
Don't know. Probably sitting in a massive house with loads of money, going laughing at Facebook.
Yeah, fair.
You know, but But yeah, I mean, I think that's just where it's changed.
Everyone's
Isn't it?
free.
That's how it used to work. You'd upload your, that kind of thing, and you do that, and now it's all about content and,
Yeah,
and
it
that
is,
sort of
yeah.
thing, and it's just about trying to find that sort of right stuff, the right content. Like when we went and recorded the song, James came with us and filmed the whole thing, so we've got that ready for as and when we need it, sort of thing. And it's just another string to the bow, really, isn't it? I think it's helpful, and it's a way of making you stand out that little bit more as well.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it gets the audience knowing who you guys are behind the mic, behind the instruments, and all that stuff. So it's important.
yeah,
The stories behind the music.
exactly that.
Well, you always
exactly.
feel more connected to things when it's more personable, and I think if you can deliver that some way, then that's ultimately the aim, and then just authentic, then is the approach.
Yeah, I think it's certainly a good approach to have. Was there anything else that you wanted to ask?
No, it just feels really wholesome.
It
Just
does.
Like, in summary, good people, great guys.
It worked.
Drop the act.
Would you like to tell everyone where they can find you on Spotify, YouTube, all the socials, please?
Yep, just listen to what Matt said. They're all there. No, all across all the.
The Instagram is Cardinals_UK.
That's the main place, isn't it? Really.
And Spotify is just Cardinals. Yeah.
Brilliant.
You'll see.
You wonder why he doesn't talk very much.
in the Instagram page, you can find in there is a link to every place you can find our music. YouTube links on Dreambound. You can find it all in there.
And link to the tickets at the Smokehouse in Ipswich on the 15th of Feb.
That's right.
Exactly.
Not a link to the show at the Hotbox, because that's sold out.
Sold out, baby! Yeah! I'll clap on my own. But yeah, you can go to linktree/Cardinals_UK. Thank you very much, guys, for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to have a couple of tracks from you in a minute that everyone can go and listen to and watch. Go on Patreon. Go and subscribe to Patreon. You'll be able to see them on there. But thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate you guys coming in.
Thanks for having
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thank you for having us.